Hi, this is Joe Weigel. I live in Peachtree City, Georgia. I'm currently an Atlanta Braves fan, but I am a bigger Cubs fan. I didn't start out being a Cubs fan. I was born in Milwaukee and raised in Philadelphia. I went to my very first baseball game at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia with my dad, who wasn't a huge baseball fan. I became a Cubs fan as a teenager, listening to them during the day. I listened to the radio broadcast. We didn't have a TV at home, and I just loved listening to Jack Brickhouse and Lou Boudreau and Vince Lloyd broadcast the games on the radio. They always took turns. They would alternate between going to TV and going to radio. So you get to hear Jack for 3 innings, and you get to hear Lou and Vince for 3 innings, and it go back and forth. The first night game ever played at Wrigley Field, of course, was August 8th, 1988. My brother and I talked about it, my brother Tom, and we wanted to go see that game. So I went to get tickets, and I managed to get 2 tickets in the bleachers for the night game, the first night game at Wrigley Field. It was a kind of a stormy night, but we didn't worry about it. Wrigley Field is such an incredible ballpark. There's so much tradition and so much history there. We live pretty far away, so we didn't get there very often, but we went whenever we could. Now, my brother's a few years younger than me, so I drove him to the ballpark. We got there fairly early. Bleacher seats are not reserved. I think we paid $5 for our tickets. They had just gone up that year. They were $3 the year before. They went to $5, but you still didn't get a reserved seat, so you have to get there early. We managed to find seats in right field, which we kind of wanted to be in right field because Andre Dawson was playing right for the Cubs then. So we get out in right field, we get our seats, we're there early, we wait. The place is absolutely packed. There's dignitaries. The pregame is really exciting. Rick Sutcliffe was pitching for the Cubs. He was their ace. Wasn't having the best year, but he was still their ace. On the first pitch, I think everybody who had a camera, and almost everybody did, flash bulbs went off. You were practically blinded, and I think Sutcliffe must have been blinded too. On the 4th pitch of the first batter, who was Phil Bradley with the Phillies, Phil hit that ball into the bleachers for a home run. So the Cubs were down already. First batter, their ace. It wasn't looking so good, but it wasn't bad. So everybody's excited. You know, we're all having a good time. The rains start to move in, and it didn't just rain, it absolutely poured. They postponed the game in the 4th inning with the downpour. Since we're in the bleachers, it was absolutely soaking wet. We didn't have anywhere to go underneath an overhang or the cover or anything. So we pretty much lost everything. I didn't get to save my ticket stubs or anything like that, but we waited around for 2 hours during this rain delay, and then they finally called the game. Not much survived from that game. The only thing I managed to get was my hat. This is the commemorative hat that everybody got going into the ballpark that night at Wrigley Field. And if you notice, it says, I'll put it on backwards here. See the True Value Hardware sponsor and WGN. So I've kept this hat a long time, and it's stayed in pretty good shape. Most of my hats that I save deteriorate. The next day, the Mets were in town, so the first official night game ended up being August 9th, 1988, which the Cubs won 6-4 against the New York Mets.